Well, there he is, Dr. Mehmet Oz, the Republican nominee for U.S. Senate in Pennsylvania. And that race, as predicted, is tightening. Let's put up the latest Trafalgar poll. All right, Dr. Oz is slightly behind, but he is gaining momentum against John Fetterman, who seems to be, well, a little bit off lately. Dr. Oz, welcome back to Newsmax. What do you make of that poll?
Good to be with you, Greg, as always. I think John Fetterman's been dodging questions from voters, from reporters. He won't debate me until very late in this process. I'm not even sure what that's going to look like, and it's catching up to him. People are starting to say, hey, listen, he's lying about his medical records. He's dishonest about his approach to the debate. He's definitely not honest about his radical policies. And he's got these big government approaches. They're like a yoke around the neck of hardworking taxpayers, and he's driving our economy into the ground while making our neighborhoods less safe. And I'll give you one good example. I went down to Philadelphia today, and I was talking to some African-American groups about the incredibly high crime rates. At the same time, visiting some of the drug areas, because we've got the largest open-air drug market anywhere in the country. And they talk about John Fetterman because he's absentee. He never goes by and visits. He's been hurting the communities by advocating for a third of all people in prison being released, including murderers who are serving life sentences. In fact, he's called the pro-murderer candidate, right? Who wants to put criminals above the innocent? And I can go on with examples, but the biggest story to me is the fact that he has got this idea that we need to legalize all drugs. We need heroin injection sites. I tell you, it doesn't work. You basically normalize behavior that leads to you dying prematurely from an overdose. And of course, we got a ton of fentanyl because, again, John Fetterman wants open borders, which means you got cartels making a fortune running human trafficking operations, and they run narcotics, fentanyl in this case, as an example, from China, along with the human beings. And it's a catastrophe. All of this is catching up with him because he's not been out there talking about the issues that are infecting people day in and day out.
You mentioned you were out there today. In fact, I think this is in Kensington. By the way, I think that's where Rocky was filmed, some of the early stages of Rocky. We all know that movie. Let's see. This is you talking to some folks. Some of them are kind of going through some stuff. Take a look.
So what are you going to do about our addiction problem?
The solution is this. Getting people to go to detox and give it a chance. It's going to fail a lot of times, but it's going to succeed a lot as well. You just keep trying until it finally works.
I couldn't make out all of your solution, but go ahead.
What we're witnessing in Philadelphia is a classic example when you have far-left radical politicians making up ideas as they pearl-clutch that don't work in reality. So they're saying we're going to let addicts do what they need to do. We're going to get them showers and give them food and let them stay addicted to heroin, which means they've got to steal money because they got to pay for the heroin. And then the dealers can run these big businesses. And who pays the price? The local landowners, local shop owners, people just trying to get to work. Kids can't go outside. And the poor people who are using the drugs, they end up dying. In fact, one of the women that was next to me in that truck that I was driving away with died last week from a narcotics overdose. Thankfully, they had Narcan and saved her life. But I said, you won't get two chances. So off she goes to detox. What I argue is, don't just care about caring, care about fixing. Actually get people into a situation where they can have a chance to recover. Detox does that. Recovery is real. We got 20 million people, Greg, as you know, in the country who have been through addiction and now are in rehabilitation, and they're doing just great. We need them to be vocal as well. But what we're witnessing in Philadelphia, and the homelessness associated with drug addiction and mental health, is endemic around major urban areas now, and I'm not going to let that happen in Pennsylvania. I've been working with people who are homeless, who are addicted to drugs, who are down and out, so to speak, for years. I did it on my show. I was in Kensington, that same area, years ago, and I've covered it since. I've been there several times during the campaign. You notice Democrats don't go there. My opponent, John Fetterman, well, he doesn't go anywhere, but he definitely wouldn't go there, and because he doesn't want to reveal that his ideas have failed. And Republicans sometimes don't go, Greg, and this is on us because we don't think it's an area where we're going to get votes, but it is what our job entails. If we're going to serve people, we serve all people. And when you go and you help folks who are in trouble, that sends a message to everybody that you care about human beings, that we are the safety net for each other, and then all of our other policies, like being strong on spending and understanding you don't want to overtax people and you certainly don't want to destroy energy production in America, all that stuff, including supporting police when they're trying to do their job in cities, it all becomes more palatable because you have demonstrated you've got a soul and you've got emotions that matter.
Dr. Oz, I want to get your assessment of Mr. Fetterman. He's a little wobbly out there. Take a look.
It's such the most important race for the Senate here for 22. We have to replace Pat Toomey. I can champion the union way of life in in D.C. Being anti-union is anti-American. What is wrong with demanding for an easy, safe kind of their income?
All right, we all know he's going through some stuff since the stroke. Hey, let me ask you, is it possible that he'll recover ultimately down the road, or is this kind of a permanent condition for him now?
Greg, I don't know, and frankly, no one knows because we haven't seen his medical records. And I've called on John Fetterman. I have tremendous empathy for what he's going through. Having a stroke, heart failure, the irregular heartbeats. I mean, this is a lot of stuff to cope with, and I get it. It's going to take time. That stated, the voters of Pennsylvania deserve a little transparency. His campaign and frankly, John Fetterman himself have not been transparent about this process. It's up to him to decide what we need to know. But the answers to the questions you and others are asking are imperative. How can you pick a senator? How can you vote for someone that you've never heard speak about the questions that we're all asking and hasn't been transparent about his health? That's why today, which is the first day for absentee ballots in Pennsylvania, I'm telling everybody, guys, don't reward John Fetterman for hiding the truth about what's going on in his life. Force him to come forward, or don't vote yet, or vote for me. But don't reward him by voting for him because you haven't heard from him yet.
The debate that you both agreed to and all kinds of stipulations, October 25th, and voting has already started. Wow, look, I'm not supposed to pick sides, and I'm not endorsing anybody, but rooting for you, and it's looking very, very good. Dr. Oz, keep it up. Come back soon, and thank you. We'll be right back.